baggy gray suit. He looked like a stereotype of a middle-level bureaucrat. "Sorry to keep you waiting, gentlemen," Felter said. He threw a heavy briefcase on the table, then took a key from his pocket and unlocked the padlock that had chained, more accurately steel-cabled it to his wrist. "My name is McCord, Colonel," General McCord said, and went to Felter and offered his hand. "I'm glad you were available, General," Felter said. As the others introduced themselves to Felter, McCord considered that. Felter knew who he was, and there was an implication that he had asked for him by name. That was flattering, unless you were rank-conscious and thought that general officers should pick colonels rather than the other way around. "I think the best way to handle this, gentlemen," Felter began, "is to give you a quick recap of what's going on in the Congo, specifically in Stanleyville, and then to tell you what we intend to try to do to set it right. There are 1,600 people, Europeans, white people, held captive by Olenga's Simbas in Stanleyville. A 4-column relief force, in other words, 4 different columns, under the overall command of Colonel Frederick van der Waal of the Belgian Army, has been charged with suppressing the rebellion, which includes, of course, the recapture of Stanleyville. There have been some successes, as you probably know from your own sources, but there is no way that van der Waal can make it to Stanleyville before the end of the month. That poses 2 problems. The first is the rebels' announced intention to kill the hostages, a threat we consider bona fide, before van der Waal can get to them. The second is that we have hard intelligence that since 20 October, at least 2 and probably as many as 4 unmarked Ilyushin 18 turboprop aircraft have been flying arms and ammunition into the Oral Air Base in northern Uganda from Algeria. Should they decide to do so, it would be easy for them to move the arms and ammunition to Olenga's forces. The possibility of their doing so, it is believed, increases as van der Waal's mercenaries and ANC troops approach Stanleyville. The President has decided, in consultation with the Belgian Premier, Spaak, that the first priority is to keep those 1,600 people alive. The Belgians have made available the 1st Parachutist Battalion of their Paracommando Regiment. I'm familiar with it. The 1st Battalion was trained by the British Special Air Service people in World War II, and they pride themselves now on being just as good. The regiment is commanded by Colonel Charles Laurent, who is a fine officer, and who I suspect will lead the 1st Battalion himself. They will be carried to Stanleyville in USAF C-130 aircraft. After the airfield is softened up with some B-26s, they will make a parachute landing and seize the airport. Part of the force will remain at the airport to make the airport ready to receive the C-130s, and the balance will enter Stanleyville, find the Europeans, and bring them to the airport. They will be loaded aboard the C-130s, and then everybody leaves. No attempt will be made to hold Stanleyville. I don't want any questions right now, I just wanted to give the rough idea. These gentlemen," Felter went on, turning to indicate the men he had brought with him, "are Lieutenant Colonel Lowell, Captain Stacy, Lieutenant Foster, and Sergeant Porte. They're Green Berets. Colonel Lowell is on the strike staff and wrote Dragon Rouge. Captain Stacy and the others have been practicing a somewhat smaller operation intended for Stanleyville, now called off. But they know the town, and rebel dispositions and the probable location of the Europeans, and I brought them along to share their expertise." The light Colonel Lowell, General McCord thought, looks like a bright guy, if not much like a Green Beret. Stacy looks like a typical young Green Beret captain, a hard charger, tough, mean, and lean. The black Lieutenant Foster looks as if he could chew railroad spikes and spit tacks. The sergeant, there's something wrong with him. His face is scratched and blotchy and swollen. You can hardly see out of his eyes. And whatever's wrong with his face is also wrong with his hands. "Colonel Lowell," Felter went on, "as soon as we wind it up here, will be available to explain any questions you might have about the O-plan for Dragon Rouge. Stacy and Foster are going to go liaise with the Belgians." Felter looked at General McCord. "I'm going to give Sergeant Porte to you, General. He's a former airlines pilot with extensive experience in the Congo, including, of course, Kamina and Stanleyville, and equally important, because he was involved in getting the B-26Ks to the Congo, he knows most, if not all, the Cubans who will be flying them." A former airlines pilot, McCord wondered. What's he doing in the Army as a sergeant? A Green Beret sergeant? "Glad to have all the help I can get," McCord said. He had another thought. I wonder if the airlines pilot caught whatever is wrong with his face and hands in the Congo. I wonder if it's contagious. Felter looked around the room. "I have rough O-plans here. Study them overnight and be prepared to offer fixes for what is wrong with the O-plan tomorrow morning." He paused, then went on. "That will be all for now, gentlemen. Thank you. So keep yourselves available.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.